11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Lara won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Who's down with HCP? Everybody. How's it going, Calix? How's it going?
I am ready. Tuesday night. Let's lock in. A lot of boxing talk. Let's go.
100%. Shout out to everyone tuning in. If you're listening on the archive, we have this goal. It might be a crazy goal. We want to get to 100 likes on every show, right? Hit that like button if you're listening right now live, and if you're listening on the archive, share this show on your social media platform. Trust me, I don't care if you have 2 followers on Twitter. Share it. One extra person may watch it. It all counts. All of it. Okay? It takes a village. Okay, people, it takes a village. This is Hispanics Causing Panic, episode 116. Man, oh man, a lot. This is our 15th episode together, Calix, as official goes together. As far as the podcast goes, a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Breaking news, and we're going to start out right out of the gate, right? We're going to talk about the big featherweight showdowns. The featherweights own the weekend that's coming, so shout out to them. We're going to talk about it, but we cannot ignore the breaking news that just came out. According to Coppinger, I just want to put that out there. Nobody yell at me if it turns out not to be true, okay? And I hope this is true. It looks like the fight is official, and or at least they've agreed or whatever. Crawford Spence, this is probably the best news we've had in a while in terms of this fight. Are you optimistic, Alex? Are you excited? Are you cautiously excited? How are you feeling?
No, I feel good about it. I'm optimistic. I've been hearing it for a while in the back end from people but you know how that's worked, right? It just felt different this time because I really feel like they've been playing games with Bud Crawford for pretty much 6 years now. Cross the street. You can't get access to our fighters because you're over there at top rank. You got to cross the street. And then finally he's a free agent. And what do we see? Ugas. And then we see an offer sent to him 4 months after the Ugas fight. And what happens? No guarantees in it. And all of a sudden, they found guarantee money, D-style. All of a sudden, these 8-figure, you hear stories about an 8-figure guarantee deal for Bud Crawford. Where was that last year? So I just think it's evident at this point that there's been an aging out process when it comes to Bud Crawford. But I like how Bud Crawford did the Evanescence fight because he said, no, you're not gonna have me going into that fight inactive. And now what happens is Errol Spence is the one going into the fight inactive. Errol Spence is going to be the one that's on a 500-day inactivity spree going into the biggest fight of his career. And Bud Crawford just fought number 9, number 8 in the division in Evanescence. No matter what people think about him, he stayed sharp, fought that fight just 5 months ago, and now he's right back in training camp for the biggest fight of his career. So good for Bud Crawford if this happens. I'm glad he's finally getting the shot that has been withheld from him for 6 years. I'm glad that the fight fans are finally getting to see one of the biggest fights that could be made in boxing for hardcore boxing fans. But it is too late. It is too late. It's still a good fight. It's still a great fight, but it should have happened by now, years ago. It should have happened years ago. So there's always going to be that what if factor, right? Is what if these guys would have fought 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? And it's evident what they've been doing and aging Bud Crawford out. He's always been the inconvenient truth in the division. And I'll tell you what, Errol Spence fans now, and look, I've considered myself an Errol Spence fan throughout his career.
Come on.
Look, I wouldn't consider myself an Errol-sexual. And those guys right there, good luck to you, because your guy is going in the ring in July with a stone cold killer. A stone cold killer.
I will say this, while I'm with you that the fight should have happened, I'm not going to agree that it's too late, because they're both they're the two top dogs in the division, and it's going to be for undisputed. And in some way that makes up for it. The fact that it'll be for all the belts, for all the marbles. But I do agree that the fight could have happened.
Late, but not too late. You're right.
It's like, but where you may be right is, we may be talking about how instead of they're finally going to fight, we may be talking about, man, they're about to have their trilogy, a classic trilogy or something, or the big rematch, or there is a lot of that, but no doubt about it. I'm not going to say it's too late. You could argue it might have been better if it happened sooner. I will agree with that, but I don't think it's too late.
You're right about that. But my thing is, I don't like this, what we've been having in modern boxing, where the two top welterweights wait 6 years to fight each other, because that's what happened with Pacquiao versus Mayweather. And people were right. Look, it still did great numbers, and they were still the top two welterweights at the time, you would argue, even coming off of Pacquiao's loss. But our loss is, but if there's still that what if it would have happened earlier, even though if this fight ends up being a great fight, there'll always be, what if it would have happened in 2017 or 18 or 19? There's always going to be that. Okay. But I'm glad they're giving it to us. And once again, I'll say, we had Roberto Diaz on last week, and he said something that I've always agreed with, is Bud Crawford is the one modern day welterweight that you can point to him. And he didn't even say welterweight, he said fighter, just one of the modern day fighters that you can point to and say he would have matched up with any of the fighters of that division of previous generations, going all the way back. And Bud Crawford's a throwback fighter that would have matched up with all the top welterweights of any generation.
I agree 100%. Look,
the reason I say that is, not only is he a guy who stylistically can outbox you, but he's always been that guy. I've always thrown out.
Well, look. We're going to have a lot of time to break down the fight. What I want to say is this, okay? It's going to be very interesting. I hope it's get made official, and I hope to see the same energy I've been seeing from a lot of the Errol Spence fans that were making it seem like they were doing Crawford the favor, because Spence will destroy Crawford, this, that, and the third. I can't wait till the energy changes, because mine's not changing. Crawford beats Errol Spence, and he will beat him, right? That has not changed whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. My energy is the same. A lot of the Errol Spence fans, I have a feelings. I got a feeling. They're going to say it's going to be a good fight. They're going to say it can go either way. They're going to say, oh, yeah, I always thought it was a great fight. And then they're going to go I thought you guys said he would never fight Crawford, huh? Because people do that shit. When it finally happens, when Tank finally fights somebody, that's all they're not going to shut up about how Tank's finally fighting somebody. I thought you said Tank would never get in the ring with Devin Haney. Like, yeah, well, dude, it's been like fucking 5 years, bro. Like, to fight somebody, right? About time, right? I guess it's better late than never, right? I guess it's better late than never, but I don't think it's too late. I think the fact that it's undisputed, there's still the consensus 1 and 2 in the division. I guess most consider Spence number 1 because of the guys he's fought. But I will say this. I put the last 5 opponents of both guys side by side, and I've asked who would beat who. And it's not as one-sided as people think it is, right? Mm-hmm. The level of opposition. Is that Spence had the accolades. Why did he have the accolades? Because the belts were with the PBC. That's why he had the accolades. The man was undisputed at 140 pounds. He had a mission. His mission was the king will relinquish his throne at 140. Now I'm going to 147, and I want all that smoke. He called them all out. He called out Spence. He called out Thurman at the time. He called out Pacquiao at the time. He wanted all of them. Arum didn't give him Pacquiao. Arum said he didn't want to see his friend get hurt. And Pacquiao left anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so he kind of stole that torch passing fight from him, to be honest with you. And then Errol Spence tells him, well, you got to get a belt. He had requirements for Bud. Undisputed champion at 140 pounds, pound for pound, the best in some eyes, top 5 pound for pound in the world. Go get a belt. The man goes in and gets the belt from the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao and Horn. Dominates him. Yeah, you got a belt, but you beat Horn, though. Like, see, the goalpost kept moving. And then, I'm going to take care of my side of the street. Once I'm done cleaning up my side of the street, okay, once the garbage man is done, I'll come after you, Crawford. Right? You just wait over there. Right? That's what the man was told. But then his fan base says things like Crawford should have gone the IBF route. Telling an undisputed champion, he should have acted like some French contender working his way up top like it's the fucking Rocky song, Eye of the Tiger or some shit. Coming up, back in the streets. Did my time, took my chances. Well, Crawford's already done all that. He's already taken his chance. He's already done his time. He's already taken his chances. He's already had the accolades. He was already pound for pound. But you wanted him to go have a chase for the IBF title, as if Spence was going to give him the shot. Because has he given Boots a shot, Calix?
No.
Well, Boots won the IBF route.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to that? How many IBF mandatories has Spence fought in the last 4 years? Ocampo? So all I know, I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm looking forward. I hope it happens, and I hope that we.
Spence is a good fighter, man. Like, great fighter. He's a great fighter, but I think there's a difference between special fighters and great fighters, and we're going to see that in July. I'm going to leave it at that, and I think it's going to be a stoppage. I think Bud Crawford is one of those dudes that he shows up to the club with white Air Nikes on, goes to the heavy traffic part of the club, sticks his foot out, and dares somebody to step on it. And I think they pissed him off withholding this fight from him for a while, and he's going to take it out on Spence in July 29th. I think that's what's going to happen.
You're going to take it out on Spence, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do think so. Although, look, what makes the fight great is that it's not a gimme. I'm confident Crawford wins, but it's not a gimme, right? He's going to have to go out there. He's going to have to execute. If he has a bad night and Spence has a good night, Spence can beat him, right? So it's not a gimme, right?
The good thing with Bud is this: he's not gonna be careful late in the fight if a stoppage. If the knockout is on the table and he's going to seek it out, he's going for it. It's not going to be guys hurting Errol Spence and then for some reason backing up. He's going to go for it. And the reason that's good is we don't want a repeat of what we had Saturday night, where it's highly controversial, the decision after a great fight. We want a definitive answer. And if Bud Crawford wants to give you a definitive answer in July, that much I know about him as a fighter is he is a killer. He's going to go for the kill. Will he be able to get it against Errol Spence? If he does, it's a career solidifying victory. That's a legacy defining victory. There's a bilateral rematch clause, so we'll get a rematch and we'll get it pretty quickly from what I'm hearing. They have to exercise that within 30 days, and I think it has to happen before the end of the year, and then both fighters are moving up to 154. That's the word. That's the word.
I don't want to hear bilateral. I don't want to hear affidavit this, affidavit that. I don't want to hear all but done. I don't want to hear it's pretty much all set, but it's just not. We can't call it official yet. I want to see the fight poster. I want to see the date. I want to see the venue. Let's rock. That's what I want.
And Dan Raphael's out there saying it's not signed and it's not a done deal till it's signed. So, we got to hold our horses on it, but it does seem optimistic.
And I don't want to hear if the fight doesn't happen. If the fight does happen, I mean, don't come at me with your dumb little snarky attitudes. Like, see, what are you going to say now, huh? I'm going to say, fuck yeah. That's what I'm going to say. I want the fight.
Why did it take so long?
No, but don't get mad at me if I'm, you know. Now,
Let me say this real quick. These styles.
Real quick, so we get a little opinion. Go ahead.
But really quick. A quick prediction on this is you're not going to get a trilogy because I don't think we'll need it. I think it'll be that definitive. Bud Crawford shows people that he's the better fighter out of these two, that we won't need a trilogy.
100%. 100%. Let's get a little Penny on. Little Penny in the building from New Zealand.
D-Style, Calix, sorry, I can't stay for long because I'm actually at work. This is one of our.
It's all good. It's a quick call. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Real quick. I just want to say, just want to make a prediction. I think Errol may have left this a little too late because, you know, we all know he can't. He's struggling to make weight at 147, right? And even so now, because, you know, he's 30, 31 years old. Who knows
32.
how old he is? It's 32.
He's going on 33.
Yeah, so he really should be at 154, right? So he's going to weight drain himself to 147. Because initially I thought that Spence was going to win this fight. That was my initial prediction. But now that he waited another 2 years, I think now he'll be weight drained, and I think that Bud will box him because Bud is a natural welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
And
he stays in the gym, Penny. He stays in the gym close to his weight.
Yeah, and he's a better boxer than Errol too. I think Errol is probably going to, because of the weight drain, I don't think he can muster that volume that he did when he was fighting in his prime at welterweight, where he can do it for 12 rounds. I think with Bud's like returning the fire to him, I don't think he can maintain that intensity for the full 12 rounds. He may do it at 154, but not at 147 because Bud's gonna keep coming at him. I think Bud will outbox him. I don't think he'll knock him out. No one's gonna knock out Errol Spence at 147.
I don't know about that one, Penny, especially if he's weight drained, especially because you know Bud. He's like Clubber Lang. Like if you could mix Clubber Lang and Apollo Creed in one, that's Bud Crawford, bro.
Yeah, but he's knocked out guys like they're not very good.
Clubber Creed, you know.
Hey, D-Star, Calix, I gotta go, man, because I just wanted to chime in to you guys.
Let me talk to your boss. What do you mean? Go ahead. We appreciate you, brother. Have a good one. Little Penny, everybody. All right. Look, we'll be putting the link out there. If you guys want to join us after every topic, give us your thoughts and all that. So get your phones ready, all that. So look, hit the like button, by the way. On all your social media platforms, check it out. Calix. All right. I just got a really good source.
Uh-oh.
A really good source just told me that has connections to the Crawford camp that it's signed.
All right. So
now I don't know what that means. Spence is signed. I cannot confirm that, but it's signed.
Tell her to give you further details.
It's not a he or she. I'm not saying what it is. What I'm saying is that it's a very specific source.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is
it's done.
It's signed. So I mean that's better than no one signed, right?
Yeah. So
we will see. Now, granted, what's signed exactly, right? I'm not sure. It could be sometimes they sign stuff before the main contract. Like I don't know, right? But I'm just putting that out there. You know?
Yeah, and look, this confirms what we've been hearing for a while on the back end so far this year and how things seem different this time around. And it's all great news. These are the fights we need to happen. You know, yes. We need the fights to happen that the hardcore boxing fans want to see. Not just the casuals, but the hardcore fans want to see the meaningful fights in the division. And that's what this gives us, D-Style. It's the welterweight division has been the welterweight division. It's been held up. It's been held up at the top, and it's been log jammed. It's Errol Spence has been sitting on this belt for 402 days, right? And these belts for 402 days without fighting. And now we're finally going to get a fight. So it's good. And we're getting the fight. So it's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chicano Prophet in the building. What's your reaction? Are you hesitant to get excited? Are you excited? Are you pumped? Are you kind of, I don't know about this? How are you feeling about it?
What's up, D-Style? What's up, Calix? Well, this one actually sounds like it is official. Now, there's been some false starts, but dude, I am pumped. Like, everybody's reporting it. Hey, you got a good source, D-Style. So I'm going to treat this like it's really happening. And yes, my juices are going to start flowing. I'm going to get pumped. And this fight's not going to be that far away. Now, like, I just want to speak up for the Errol Spence side. I think, and I've always said this, I favor him in the matchup against Crawford. I'm going to break down some more film, right?
Kick him out.
No, I agree with Calix completely. Terrence Crawford is a special fighter, but I always thought, well, if we're talking that welterweight, Spence is just a big, full, strong welterweight who can go. And I see Crawford not being able to just answer back when he gets angry, starts trying to punch Spence back. This is how I see it. I got to break down a little bit more. But D-Style, just like how you have a perfect Lomachenko record, I have a perfect Errol Spence prediction record, okay? And I'm calling it, man. I'm going to give some peace of mind to the Spence fans. I got Spence beating Crawford.
Woo!
You got
All right.
Spence beating Crawford. All right, right.
By the way, I have a perfect Errol Spence record as well, and I'm going to stay perfect in saying he's going to get stopped here.
Very good, very good. A lot of people lost
apology letter on the line, or what? Like, what are we into it? Like, what?
I think so.
You guys want to do it or what?
I would apologize to anybody if Errol Spence wins this fight. That's how confident I am.
Are you down, Chicano? Or are you
I'm grabbing this even money, and I'm grabbing it, and I'm grabbing it.
I want to see if Chicano agrees, though. Chicano, do you agree, or are you gonna chicken out?
No.
Are you gonna duck?
Nah, no ducking here. I respect Calix's opinion, and I do think Crawford is special. And I would prefer Crawford win. Okay, I'm more of a Crawford fan. That's just how I see the fight. I just see Spence just being too big, too solid for Crawford in the end. But sure, if you want to write it up, man, we could get it going. There should be a lot of buzz. This fight's just around the corner, man, and perfect in the middle of summer. I'm looking forward to it.
So it's how an apology letter bet works. The loser, right, has to read a handwritten, verbatim apology letter from the winner. So they write it for you.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yes. Locked in.
Jump back on if you want for another topic, brother.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks, fellas.
That's Chicano Profits. Subscribe to his channel, by the way. They have Al Chile, which you guys could always tune in. We're almost at 50 viewers. Make sure you get those likes. Help us get to the 50 likes ASAP. We appreciate you guys' support, by the way. Utilize Twitter, share it, all that good stuff. Look, I'm excited. Apparently, July 29th is the target date, according to the headlines. Coppinger put it out there. And I can't wait. I mean, I look, I don't want to get too into, because we're going to have a lot of time to break it down. So I don't want to get too scientific with it. But what I will say is that I have Crawford winning. I'm very confident Crawford wins. Calix, do you hear that a lot? Like Crawford, he loves to fight too much, and that's going to be a weakness against a guy like Spence.
Yeah, I do hear that, but I just can't envision a scenario in which Bud Crawford gets knocked out. And I can envision a scenario in which Bud Crawford knocks Errol Spence out. I can also envision a scenario in which Bud Crawford starts off a little slow against Errol Spence. He gets the jab going. It takes him a little while, and then he starts to go to work late in the fight and wins a 7-5, 8-4 type fight, and then it goes the other way on the scorecards. That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. I'm hoping that Bud Crawford becomes Bud Crawford in the middle rounds and goes for the kill. It executes that, because what I do want is a definitive finish to this one. I want a definitive winner. I don't want any controversy after a great fight. And regardless, we're getting a rematch. It's a bilateral, regardless. But I think this is one of those rivalries where we're not going to get a trilogy, because I just feel like Bud Crawford is a level above Errol Spence. And that's no disrespect to Errol Spence. And look, is Bud Crawford's resume what we'd like it to be overall from a guy that we would say on the eye test matches up well with everybody from previous eras? No, it leaves some to be desired, but this can start to tie that up. And I've always felt this guy goes in the ring with anybody, he beats anybody.
Hey, shout out to EJ. I haven't seen EJ boxing live in a long time. See, this fight, like, it's rumored to happen now. EJ pops up from like the crypt, like out of nowhere. Like I don't know, like the dude should be asleep right now. It's like 3 a.m. in England. He's like, "Yo, the fight's official." What's up, guys? You know, like what's
Chauncey,
going on?
I'm looking forward to taking Chauncey's money again. Chauncey, your money is getting taken.
By the way,
this is the main reason I love this fight. Is I am gonna make so much money off of Bud Crawford in this one. So much money. And I'm gonna put so much money on the line that if they rob Bud Crawford, if they get
I got Clubber Creed, bro. I got Clubber Creed.
And look, Arrow's wife right now is at the top of the staircase yelling at him, "You can't win! You can't win, Arrow! You can't beat him!" That's what she's saying.
Hey, but remember, Rocky won that fight, so I don't know if that's the best.
True.
I don't know. We want to go there. You know what I mean? Look. Obviously, I'm just gonna say it, bro. Like, I've always been confident that Bud wins this fight. And I know Errol's good. I do, right? But I think Bud will figure out the high guard. I think, and I know I said I was going to go too scientific with it, but I think he's going to do this thing where he's going to touch him upstairs so EJ could block it, with his guard. And then that's where Bud's going to do kind of similar to like, he's a much better fighter than Mickey Ward. But the one thing Mickey Ward did very, very well was force guys to get the guard up, right? He would just touch him a little bit upstairs. And then, boom, he would sneak in that body shot to the liver. He kind of got him with that. But I think Crawford's going to do something maybe at a more high level, but he's going to do that to Errol Spence. I always thought, Bud is the best in the division. I've thought that for a long time. I think his wins over Horn, for example, were extremely underrated. People underrated it even more when they saw Tim Tszyu destroy our guy, you know what I mean? When he destroyed Horn, but now we see how good. Look at what Tim Tszyu did to Harrison. You know what I mean? So this guy's no joke, bro. Let's get Chauncey Pearl. Chauncey Pearl in the build.
What's good, guys? Can y'all hear me? I'm at a brewery here. I was just hanging out, but I just wanted to say this. I don't know. Is this official? Calix, is this official? Or is it just like another Cap and Drew, just saying whatever? Is this fight official? Yes or no? Tell me.
You're hearing a sign on one end, right?
Okay, watch me. Hey, watch me. It's official.
Okay, official. I don't want to talk about this until it's official. Right now, the fight that I'm looking forward to, you already know, Stanionis, Virgil, that's going to be Hagler Hearns of this generation of today. I don't want to hear about no goddamn freaking Spence and Crawford until that is a done deal. And, Calix, this time, I'm telling you, I've been saying this for a long time. It's not going to come a shock. Spence is going to beat Crawford. As the fight gets closer, if it gets announced, I'll let you all know why and how.
I want to know if I could take your opinion serious. What are you drinking? I want to know what's your alcohol drink right now? What's up?
Right now, let's see what they got right here. They got on the menu. I am drinking it's called a Fremont IPA. That's what it is.
Hey, promote the spot. You're on HCP.
Yeah. Bottle and pint here in River Park Collection area in Oxnard. It's a spot. The homegirl's working right now. I don't know if you see her. She's out there somewhere. But yeah, it's a tap room. It's cool. And true story, man. Lomachenko is actually my next door neighbor. He used to live here in River Park. Igor Klimas has a house for his fighters right down the street from here. And Lomachenko, Kovalev. I've even seen Usyk here. They all live and hang out here. There's a Whole Foods right down the way. So yeah, man, it's a cool little spot here in Oxnard.
Chauncey, I want to warn you, don't drink. If you drink about 20 of those beers tonight, you'll be asleep like Errol's going to sleep against Bud.
The only way that Errol loses this fight is
don't grab the keys after 20 like Errol.
No. The only way he loses, in my opinion, is if like he has that I think he has something with his face, like an orbital or whatever. If the injuries catch up to him, but I'm telling you, man, Crawford's downfall in this fight is going to be the dog in him, and like I said, I'll explain later. Showing here tonight, but man, I'm still listening to the show. Got the headphones on. Good to see you guys, man. And as the fight gets closer, I'll be on. Chop it up with you guys. All right?
Good. We appreciate it,
man. Peace.
There we go. We even got a commercial for the pub and everything.
I am going to take his money again.
If anybody really quick before we move topics, if you guys want to tap in, make sure you tap in really quick. Christine,
Oh
if you
man,
want to
this is
tap in,
gonna
you
be
can tap in from your phone. You know what I mean?
this is gonna be so satisfying as a Bud Crawford fan. It is. This is gonna be so satisfying.
Hey, by the way,
Because
we
I think it's
appreciate.
going to be so definitive. And I know what Chauncey's saying, and I know what the theory is that Bud Crawford's going to be too much of a killer for his own good, and Errol's going to start to
But you
tap
know
him
what? There's
off.
one good thing, Calix. You see, after you beat him, you know what I mean? Like after you beat him, um, you know, with his bed, he ain't gonna be getting drunk at the bars no more. You know what I mean? He's gonna be able to just, sober up. You know what I mean? And things will be better for him. You know what I mean? So he's gonna save money in the long run by not spending all that money at the pub. You know what I'm saying? All right. But in all seriousness, though, I'm just kidding. But shout out to your biggest fan, Fight Doctor. He says Clueless Boxing 2.0.
Nice.
Shout
Hey,
out
Diesel,
to
I want to say this. The
Yeah.
beautiful thing about this is the top of the division will no longer be locked, and it'll be freed, and we'll have a champion, which is healthy. Unless there's a draw, please don't be a draw, but it will be healthy to have a champion. And then these belts will all be released because, as the reporting is saying, next year they'll both move up to 154, and then this division will be handed over to the younger Lions. And this is getting started off with Virgil versus Stanionis, right?
Hey, by the way, speaking of the younger Lions, once Mufasa and Scar got to fight each other already. Okay, that's it. Like it's time because Simba's time is like the Simbas. It's their time. You know what I mean? If they don't fight, if these guys don't fight, bro, this year, that's it. Move on. Arrow go to 154. Fight Tim Tszyu. We know Jermall will go to 160. Just let's keep it moving. And then Crawford could fight maybe one of the young Lions or something, or he could move up and fight Tim Jermall, whatever. Okay, but let's just get it moving. And that's all I got to say. Shout out to Nando Llamas, by the way. Everybody in chat from Fight Doctor, Puerto Rican Rum, Grant G, Old Dirt, Boxing, One, Prayed, Sype Tech. Shout out to you. Chauncey Pros, of course. EJ Boxing Live, 92 AKU. Alex Fresco says, thank the boxing gods. Praise to Jesus Christ. Okay?
Whoa.
But that's still the way it is, man. Look, we're going to go ahead and proceed here. If you guys want to tap in. We're going to go ahead and keep it moving. Calix, a little bit of a exciting, in my opinion, some exciting stuff right here. Okay? For those that don't know, Conor McGregor tweeted out, right? He tweeted out that he's seen how the southpaws, John Ryder, Billy Joe Saunders, and other fighters in the past, the success they had with Canelo. He sees Canelo slipping, you know what I mean? And he thinks it's a perfect time that he could take advantage of some of the things he saw, and it could be a big pay-per-view event. And you know what? Fans may not like it. I've been hearing nonstop about it's not about merit. It's about the big names. It's about the pay-per-view buys. It's about the event, right? So McGregor's a name. This fight does 3 million buys. You may not like hearing that. That might irritate you. That might irritate the fans listening to this. But it does 3 million buys or so. It's the biggest fight, and the sheriff could take back his pay-per-view crown.
Mm-hmm.
To that you say what?
To that I say, God no. God no. Yes, I don't doubt that it does 3 million buys and everything you're saying. I give.
What's your brother watching it?
The beautiful thing about, and shout out to Roberto Diaz again. He kind of explained this is the difference between the Mayweather era and the Canelo era is this stuff right here. And a part of me as a boxing fan will never, I get it. Believe me, I get it. They made a ton of money and Floyd carried them and he made a lot of money, robbed the bank. But a part of me will never forgive him for introducing the world to this clown show market where boxers fight MMA fighters who are looking for the big payday in a boxing ring. If they're going to do this stuff, I'd rather see them do some semi thing where they fight in an octagon and they can both kick or something like that, or whatever. Or they do it in an octagon and they just box, but they do it in 4-ounce gloves, whatever. But this right here, Miss me with it. I've never been interested in it. And the
What you
beautiful thing
watch?
about Canelo, and this is what I've explained to my audience a million times over, is the reason we became fans of Canelo is why? Because he's fought the fights consistently. He's fought the fights that mattered. He's never been intrigued by the clown show. And the only way that Canelo, who has built this base, this universal base, not just the Mexican base, but he widened it, universal, the only way he can start to lose that is if he does stuff like this. That even if it's a one-off, I'm disinterested. And that's when I start to say, look, with these other fights on the table, the reason we're drawn to Canelo is even late in his career, like Lomachenko, even late in his career, he's taking on the challenges. And he's still trying to get the accolades and accomplishments. So this stuff right here, miss me with it.
Look, I'm just gonna say that the casuals and a lot of like the hardcore Tank fans have taught me something, right? They taught me that if you want to be the sheriff in town, if you want to be the face of boxing, you got to make events, okay? Ain't nobody want to see a dude nobody knows, like Ryder, right? Ain't nobody care if he earned it, and nobody cares if he beat a bunch of the top 10 guys, because ain't nobody know who he is, right? You got to fight big names. Hashtag currency over legacy, right? And if Canelo wants to be the face of boxing, he needs to beat that 1.2 million buy that he did with Ryan Garcia. People can miss me with they weren't the best. The names are the names. I want to see big names, Calix. I want to see pay-per-view buys. The people they want an event. Love it or hate it. This fight does 3 million. This fight breaks the bank. This fight brings all the interest. Conor McGregor is famous. He's a name. He's a big star attraction. And this would break pay-per-view records for Canelo. I'm just saying. It would be Canelo's. It would do more than, you tell me, Calix. I'll run it through you. McGregor, Canelo, or Canelo versus Bivol 2. Which one sells more?
Canelo McGregor.
Okay, Canelo McGregor or Canelo versus Berlanga? Like, which one sells more?
McGregor.
Okay, Canelo and I'm going somewhere with this, just to stay with me. Canelo and McGregor or Canelo and Benavidez?
McGregor.
Which one sells more?
McGregor.
So what I'm saying is this is the event. You want to be the sheriff in boxing? The Tank fans taught me that you got to fight the big names and sell pay-per-view. That's the way to go. Not merit, not fighting the best in your division. Because look, all I know is this, Calix. Canelo beats Benavidez anyway. I don't need to see it. We know he beats him, so why do we need to see it for? I want to see the big event. He beats him anyway. So why should we see it? For what? I want to see. I could do fictional matchups too. McGregor versus Canelo. It would be a big event, bro. Huge.
See, I understand it. I get it. It's just hard to accept that boxers, I get it. It's just the reason you enjoy and become fans of certain fighters is that stuff like that, even though it's big, is beneath them. That circus act is beneath them. It's almost like that saying, just because you're hung doesn't mean you have to be a porn star, right?
Right.
It's just because you can get that low-hanging fruit and make it easy.
I don't know about these sayings, Calix, man. I don't know where you're hearing these sayings, but it is what it is.
It's hard to say this because it's an easy 100 million or whatever it would be, but you still like to think that the dude is above that, right? You got gas stations, you got beer, you got 50 million per fight, 55 million per fight. It just seems like it would be beneath him to do that. And it would be hard for me as a Canelo fan to accept that he would do that because the Mayweather era versus the Canelo era is a real thing, and the dichotomy is real between the two. We're not going to marinate. We're not going to make you wait for fights. We're not going to give you a Conor McGregor fight or whatever. This dude's fighting John Gotti III in a couple weeks. You know that?
Yeah, I mean, look, hey,
We don't want
currency,
that. I don't want to see Canelo doing that stuff.
currency over legacy, brother. Like, because we need to learn, we need to adapt, Calix.
Oh.
Well, we're over here thinking that fighting the best works, but those fights don't sell. The ones that sell are the big events or the big names.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody mentioned Jake Paul. People think it's funny, but I think Jake Paul versus Canelo does like 2 million buys.
I ain't adapting. I'm just letting you know now. I'm not adapting for that.
We need to be like we need to, like, you know, like we need to be like chameleons and adapt to the situation. Shout out to Remy. What up, D-Style Calix? Why does someone have to be text my personal number to alert me? You Calix and Christine are live. You dropping the ball, YouTube.
Yep.
You're not getting alerts, guys. You're not getting alerts. What I'm gonna do is what I'm gonna do. Right? I'm probably gonna start an email list. So I have an email people. I will just personally email you guys the link to the YouTube show when we go live, and we'll just do it ourselves because we can't depend on YouTube. It is what it is, right? But keep in mind, Tuesday in the evenings we do the podcast. Afternoon Mondays we do Aftermath, and we have the X in between, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just Roundtable Thursdays. So it is what it is, guys. You know what I mean? Bear with us. You have the bare necessities. All right? You got the bare necessities. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry. We'll go live. We got the bare necessities. We're going to talk boxing on this live stream. You know what I mean? So with that said, any final thoughts on this mega pay-per-view event?
No, please don't.
It would sell. Would your brother watch it? Your brother would watch it, right?
Please don't. I don't think so. Please, boxing guys, don't let that happen. And look, once again, I'll say this is if they're going to continue to do these crossover fights, they need to do true crossover events. They have to stop.
Why do the boxers? Boxing where the money's at. Well, why do we need to conform to the UFC dudes?
Well, I don't know, but all I'm saying is, what's the interest in this? Why are people interested in this?
It's a big name.
You're saying Canelo is bigger than these.
We live in a world. We live in a world where Tank versus Ryan sold more, did more money, sold faster than Haney Lomachenko. That's the world we live in.
But
I didn't make this world. I just was born in it.
Specifically, why are people still interested in boxers beating up MMA fighters in a boxing ring? Why is that still a thing? Who's still interested in that out there? But people still are. Why?
You don't think the karate style of McGregor will give Canelo some problems? Different range. You know what I mean? Different range. No? You don't think McGregor thinks his straight left will like give Canelo a lot of problems.
Remember when Teddy Atlas said that? Like the dexterity of Conor McGregor will give Floyd problems. And we were all just watching, just waiting, like, yeah, just wait till Mayweather throws an actual punch. And then Conor just gets super tired. Why are people interested in this? I don't get it. I don't understand this.
Somebody said the fight might be a draw. Look, man. Look at the I want to see Canelo knock out McGregor. Pa que se le quite. Ándale, güey. Que se le quite el cabrón. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. Like, it's a big event. We need to learn from we need to adapt to what the Tank fans told us, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what do these other dudes bring to the table? What do they bring to the table?
Who?
These other dudes, these boxers that nobody knows, and everybody knows who McGregor is at least. He's a big name. You can't deny this shit does like 3 million buys. Like, you know what I mean? Whether we like it or not.
What are the odds on Moretti being a judge for Spence versus Crawford?
Let me tell you something. I've never seen such a terrible ref get constantly selected. You know what I mean?
Remy was sending me his record on Twitter earlier, and it is abysmal in big fights.
Read that right there. Read it for me. Read it.
Oh my God!
They're not lying.
They're not lying.
Hey, ain't nobody know who Usyk is.
And I'm gonna tell you this: Francis Ngannou did not beat pick any, and I've told people this before, pick any heavyweight in the top 100 according to BoxRec. I don't care if they're active or inactive. Pick number 99. He beats Francis Ngannou in a fight, in a boxing match.
But the problem is that we know that's true because if he could beat a top 20 guy, the just like any heavyweight, right? You want to fight the guys right below to sharpen you up and get you prepared for the bigger names. He knows he ain't gonna beat those dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying. It's a big pay-per-view event. We live in the world, Calix, where they reward Tank and Ryan.
Yeah.
And they might have rewarded Haney and Loma, but Haney and Loma had to do large leaps for every little step. You know what I mean? That Ryan and Tank had to do. And that's who the public rewarded. That's what Stephen A. Smith wants to say. This is the pound for pound guy that fights everybody, right? That's who gets rewarded. We live in a world where perception is more powerful than reality. And that's just the way it is.
And I've been told that this PFL deal is until next year to give him a chance to box this year. So I don't think, I think he can still fight a boxing match before the end of the year, according to his deal. I hope it doesn't happen, though.
But look, I want to celebrate. You know what I mean? I have my beer. I don't know. Calix has H2O probably, but
yeah,
it all works. You know what I mean? I have a shot ready. Okay. I am House of Dragons, of course. All right. And this is a toast, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special day, Calix. You know what I mean? This is, I don't know if you guys have a drink, so you can take a toast with us. This is an achievement.
Put your drink up, Chauncey.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is 700 days of inactivity. By the way, I'm going to put the link if anybody wants to comment on anything we talked about. By the way, I'm just capping, guys. No, I don't want to see Canelo versus Conor McGregor. That's not a fight I want to see. The link's right there if anybody wants to jump back in and just to give us to celebrate. You know what I mean? It's a celebration, Calix. I saw somebody tweet out, I see some guys mocking him, talking about 700 days, but he's going through issues with his wife and fighting for his kids. Well, I mean, who else is talking about the 700 days, right? Kind of obvious, But it seems like yesterday we should rock the show. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, man. Like I can't believe it's been almost 2 years, bro.
Yeah. And it's a shame to see such a talented fighter who has a lot of promise wasting his prime years or even past his prime years on whatever he's wasting them on. And he's certainly been active, pulling up at fights, calling out other fighters during this time. But here's the thing. I'm empathetic to his problems. I'm empathetic to everybody's problems. Everybody has issues. I'm empathetic to what's going on outside the ring. But you know who I'm more empathetic towards? The poorer fighters underneath him who don't have the resources and money to deal with the problems like he does.
Hey, this is a celebration, Calix. What's going on here?
It's going to be a celebration in a minute, but right now it's not a celebration because those poorer fighters who don't have the opportunities, a lot of them are sitting right outside the top 10. They might have to work a 9-to-5 job and then go to the gym and neglect their family to work for 2 or 3 more hours in the gym before they go home to their family and are just waiting for that shot, waiting for that call, but they can't move up the rankings. And then the fighters underneath him in the rankings who don't get a shot and are wasting sanctioning fees on Reggie belts and recess, interim belts, who can't get the shot because it's log jammed at the top because the WBC will not strip this guy. And he's sitting there with this belt around his waist without defending it. It's the Leo Santa Cruz situation all over again. At least Leo Santa Cruz was fighting in other divisions, but the dude went 3.5 years without defending his belt. How does he still have it, Leo Santa Cruz? And then finally, he has to give it up. But Charlo is sitting on it for 700 days without anything scheduled. And he's still got the belt. And here's the problem, too, is major publications out there still have him the top of the rankings, both divisional, and some of these fighters, even in the pound for pound, going 14, 15 months without fighting and with nothing scheduled. The publications have to start stepping up, speak for the boxing fans, and make some progress, hold feet to fire. And there's no reason Jermall Charlo should be ranked anywhere in the top 10 right now in any divisional rankings when he hasn't fought in 700
Yeah, he hasn't fought in a while. Look, Calix, look. This celebration, brother.
It's not a celebration.
we need to celebrate like this achievement. Manichu Suleiman said it best. You know what I mean? He is going through problems in his life. Jermall Charlo is not just a champion. We're proud as a WBC. We're proud to have him as a champion of the historic middleweight division. Boxing is one thing. It's already tough being a boxer. But he's a bigger champion. He's a champion in life. He's a champion for being open about his problems with mental illness. It takes more courage to be open with mental illness than facing the best in your division. And the WBC is proud to have him as our great champion. Well, what do you say to that? That's pretty much what he's been saying.
Yeah.
And I can run it down for you, by the way. He's broken it down why it's been 700 days, by the way. It's gotten to him.
It's quite the achievement. You know, you've often said the best defense is knocking a guy out. Why? Because you no longer have to defend yourself. It goes further than that. The best defense is not fighting, right? Because, I mean, you got your belts. You already made a bunch of money. You got your belt. You don't have to defend it. I mean,
how many times has he been hit in 700 days?
Imagine that the WBC,
I mean, he's taking these type of shots, but no shots in the ring. You know what I mean?
That's not nice. The WBC. Imagine the WBC calling him one day though, and saying you have to defend your belt. You know, you need to defend it, or we need to take the belt. And Jermall's just confused. He's like, "What do you mean I have to defend it? I have to defend this thing? I thought I'd just keep it forever."
My champion does not need to defend his belt. We will wait for him.
D-Style, it's quite the achievement to not fight a fight, not get hit because you're not fighting a fight for 700 days, and still keep your belt, still be ranked 1, 2, at the lowest 3 in the division without even fighting. Imagine that.
I want to break down. I want your reaction to this.
D-Style, imagine being so great at your job that you don't have to do it for 2 years, and yet you're the employee of the month.
Caleb, hear me out. Hear me out, though. Hear me out. Okay, hear me out. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Feliciano, Grand G, Chicano Profit, Little Penny, all you guys. Shout out to you guys. So, check it out. Keep the comments coming. If you have anything you want to say about this, by the way, once again, the link is in the chat. If you want to do a quick call, you guys can jump in and out throughout the show, by the way. If you already came in, you could come back in. But check it out. So there was an interview. Friend of the channel, No Puedes Jugar Boxeo. Amador did an interview with him. It was in Spanish, though, but I'm going to give you the gist of the interview, okay? He broke it down, Calix. He broke it down why it's been 700 days, okay? First, he said it's because Adames and Munguia were set to fight, and the fight didn't happen. So they couldn't do that eliminator. That was reason number one. Reason number two, they tried to do Munguia versus Charlo, as you know, Matchroom and Golden Boy and PBC. They didn't get the fight done, unfortunately. Roberto Diaz spilled the beans on they didn't want DAZN as part of the deal, right? But now Mauricio did say that. He said that there was network issues, and because of that, they were not able to do the fight. Okay. So, I mean, that's part of his explanation now, right? And then he did a big leap. And then he said he hurt his hand. So he had a hand injury, and he's not the only Charlo with a hand injury. He recovered from the hand injury, And then for the last like 500 days or so, because you have to explain the rest. We went through a very severe case. He went through episodes. He called it. I think he was just taking too many shots. He's not in the ring, but at the bar or something, right? Or at the events. But he had some episodes, maybe drunk tirades. I don't know, but he had episodes, and they were tied to mental illness. And the WBC takes that very serious, and they will stand behind him for as long as it takes, he said. And I quote, for as long as it takes, the WBC will stand behind their great champion. And he's proud to have him as a champion. That's what he said. And if anybody has criticism, he said, take it to him. Leave Charlo alone. He's taking bullets from him, bro. Like, I'm just saying, he's like, yo, and shout out to Black and Brown, by the way.
And by the way, when he says as long as it takes, I believe him. I believe if it was 1,700 days, he would still stick with him. He still had the
You're Catholic, right? Aren't you Catholic?
I am.
Isn't that prayer that the priest said? I forgot the prayer. But at the end, the priest goes, we'll be in the kingdom of heaven forever and ever.
Amen.
Like he's just saying forever and ever. He can have the belts forever and ever. Like Jesus Christ, bro. All right, Mauricio, like holy water and everything. Like, God damn, this guy, he could just. I would love to ask him, like, how long is too long, Mauricio?
Dude, the last time we saw Jermall fight was he fought for the Juneteenth belt. And that wasn't last Juneteenth. It was the Juneteenth before. We're going to have two Juneteenths. We're going to have 2 Juneteenths since the last time he fought. Till he fights again. That's how long it's been. So Nando Yama says Jermall should have been the cleaner at 160 like his brother at 154. Folks would be licking their chops for a Canelo fight right now before anyone. And he's right.
But I keep hearing, but don't worry. Big. Yeah, but they keep telling, don't worry. We have an interim champion in Adamas. It's not the same. Just declare him the actual champion, dude. Like as long as this guy is still called champion, Adamas, he's an interim champion.
Yeah.
So guess who was an interim champion too? Ryan. It's not an official title, bro. Nando Llamas, we appreciate the support. Shout out to Nando, by the way. Look at that HCPX spray paint in the truck and the avatar. Jermall should have been the cleaner at 160, like his brother at 154. Folks will be licking their chops for a Canelo fight right now before anyone.
That's what I said. Imagine the demand for that fight had he done that. And by the way, he doesn't need to go through it undefeated like his brother showed. The reason I respect Mel so much and became a fan is he showed vulnerabilities. He came back from losses and he avenged every loss or draw by what? A knockout. He said, yeah, you might have got me there, but I'm going to knock you the fuck out the next time. And he did. All right. So he cleaned it up and he got all the belts. Now, will he fight Tim Tszyu? We'll see. But I still have a lot of respect for what Mel did. I appreciated his undisputed run because it came with some bumps and he eventually got it
done.
Bro,
like his brother's undefeated run happened while this guy was inactive. That's crazy. Like while he was inactive, his brother like unified 3 belts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he fought like the dudes that fought like he unified these belts, bro. Like bouncing back from a loss, bro. You know what I mean? Once again, proof that a loss ain't shit. If you avenge it, you're good. If you have an L, whatever. Because look, the one with the L is the one that's gotten all the accolades at the end of the day.
Yeah,
right?
And unfortunately, Mel's becoming more like Maul right now, and we wanted the opposite to happen, right?
Well, I mean, look, if you could be champion forever, like without having to defend your belts, you could break all the records, bro. You could break Joe Lewis's record. You could break, all the records. How long was Joe Lewis champion? Like 10 years? I forget the exact amount of years, but he could just write it out. Like he could just like fuck it. I'm champion for life,
Whole life.
Right? For life, he could be champion. Chauncey Pearl's toasty mortal combat. Yo, let me tell you something. Ain't nobody going to get a fatality on this dude if he ain't fighting. I'm just saying, let me tell you something.
He's the greatest defending champion of all time because he hasn't broken a sweat and he's defending his belt for 7 years.
I don't know, man. He's taking a lot of shots, though.
No.
I'm just saying, okay? Shout out to King KO in the building. Jermall is an active too. Hasn't been in the ring for a while. Spence at least has a fight announced, Calix, allegedly. Hopefully against Crawford. It looks like it's official. Fingers crossed. Jermall, it's been over a year now. Everybody was celebrating the year. Oh, it's been 1 year since he beat Castano. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, dude, he had such a dominating performance against Castano in the rematch that, like, he was ready to go 4 months after that. They could have done the Tim Tszyu fight already. But they just had to wait till fucking the late January, right? They made the fight in July for late January, bro. And then, like, the dude gets injured like 2 weeks before the fight. I mean, and Tim's been saying it like that. That pissed me off. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And he's been sharing the stories too. Like, you're calling out Canelo? Like, bro, what do you mean? Like, I'm right here. Like, what do you mean? I've been waiting for you. What do you mean, Canelo? Canelo. I like how the Charlo brothers say Canelo. They say like they go hard with the syllables. Canelo.
You know what? This is a good opportunity. Mel has a good opportunity here and he's in a good spot because he has all the belts. Tim Tszyu is a legitimate name. Like he's becoming a name, so he can defend those belts against Mel. And then what happens next year is Bud and Errol do their thing this year. Apparently, if a rematch happens, it happens before the end of the year. And if a trilogy doesn't happen, those guys are moving to 154. They may even move to 154 in the rematch. So Bud and Errol will be at 154. So if I'm Mel, I don't even entertain going up to middleweight because there's nothing going on up there anyway. Stay at 154. Try to continue to solidify yourself and wait for guys like Errol and Bud to move up.
This is a champion for life, bro. There ain't no champion in recess.
Imagine that Errol. Imagine Errol keeps the belts at 154 against Tim Tszyu, and then next year he has an opportunity to face the undisputed champ moving up from 147.
Hey, I tweeted this out, Calix. I said, some are team and still, some are team and new. If you're part of Jermall's team, you're and counting. All right, that's the hashtag and counting. Ain't no champion in recess. All right, there ain't no champion in recess. This is champion for life. Okay, for life, champion for life. Right? Ain't no stripping here. All right, I don't want to hear none of that, bro. Let me tell you something. Right? I'm just saying. It seems like just yesterday. Where's P. Diddy at, bro? Like, that dude will be dancing to this shit. I'm just saying, on the video, like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, right? It seems like just yesterday the dude was rocking the show, and now he's like not retired, but champion for life. How good he got to be champion for life, bro?
Are we really going to do a 750-day celebration? Is that what we're going with?
No, I mean, we're going to go 800, bro. This is a road to 1,000. You know, part of me wants to see it happen, believe it or not. I want 1,000. Because at this point, fuck it. Like, it's a joke anyway, right? What's the circuit, ladies and gentlemen? Get the balloons out. I'm going to buy a balloon that say 1,000. I swear to God, I'll have it behind me for the show if it happens. I'll buy the 1, 0, and 0 balloon, or the 3 0 balloons, 1,000. Let's go. Right? It seems like yesterday we used to rock the show, right? I'm just saying.
It's a good thing we're not going to have to celebrate Errol's 500-day celebration. You know, he's gonna fight right before it.
Oh, here's the thing, Calix, and counting. Like, they still have to announce a date, and then we got to get to that date. So how long is he gonna go without fighting? Because you know it takes at least 40 days before fighting. That's low bar. It could be 60, 70 days. I mean, with PBC announces fights like a year out sometimes. He'll be back in 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Like, okay, you know. Any final thoughts on this?
When is the next Haley's comment? Somebody put in the chat. When's the next Haley's comment? I don't think it's coming in our lifetime. Right? That isn't coming in our lifetime, right?
Tell my father, tell my mother, I've done the best I can. I just can't defend my belts right now. Mauricio Suleiman understands. He's the WBC champion, brother. I'm just saying. He's the proud champion of the WBC. And he said, I swear to God, Spence said this. He is the representation of a champion if I ever saw one. Like, okay. Hey, Mauricio, you know what I mean? Like, hey, let me tell you something. There's fool's gold out there. I seen people sell shit I seen people sell crap at a fucking garage sale for $100. I don't know why the fuck you buying that shit. You could get that shit at a swap for like $2 or whatever. So it's whatever. But I seen it all. One man trash, another man gold.
Finally, Regis, who is a hermit, does some real promo tomorrow in my neck of the woods, and I'll be out of town. Just that dude does not do much promo. Much like Bud. He's much like Bud in that instance. Like he doesn't do much promo.
Tell my father, tell my mother.
It's July 28th, 2061. That's the next Haley's comment. Hopefully I'm still up in here.
Could you imagine this dude taking his rocking chair, like holding the belt? He's just kind of like, yeah, I'm still the champ. I'm still the champ.
With the telescope, looking at the Haley's comment, he's got his WBC belt still.
I'm still the champion. Like, okay, damn. Like, you know what I mean? I haven't been hit in 40 years. Like well, you know, ain't nobody laid a glove on you for 40 years, champ. You're the champion for life. Hashtag and counting. Ain't no and still. Ain't no and you. It's and counting. All right. Well, anyway, that's in a celebration for a day. He is the champion of the WBC, whether we like it or not. You're tuning in to HCP podcast, 116th episode, ladies and gentlemen. Big fights, Calix. It's a featherweight's turn. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The featherweights are taking over a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that the featherweights. I kind of like the fact. I don't even know it was on purpose, but I like the fact that these guys are fighting each other on the same day. The timing is perfect. Yep. Okay. Let's start off with this fight. Mauricio Lara, Lee Wood. They're going to run it back. Lee Wood was ahead on my scorecard anyway. In the judges' scorecards, he gets knocked out by Mauricio Lara. Bronco Lara. What do you make of it? How do you got it?
Love this fight. Love both these fighters because, once again, they sum up real fighters, right? When was the last fight? It was 3 months ago. So Lee Wood just got knocked out 3 months ago, and he's running it back by a guy who stopped him. And what is Lara doing? Lara's saying, I won the fight. I went to your territory and won the fight. You want me to do it again? I'll come back to your territory. And I'll stop you again. This is how fighters behave. And notice how quickly we can make fights when fighters want them, right? We don't hear all the obstacles, the invisible obstacles get in the way when fighters want fights. And this is why I tell people, if you want boxing at its purest, go below 130. Go below 135 because that's where you're getting the fights because the pay scale is more honest. The pay scale isn't so thrown off to where the business gets in the way. Fighters have to fight the fights to get compensated correctly. And they're forced into more legacy fights, which we're getting. I love 126. It's a beautiful division full
Sounds like the UFC, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful division full of good fighters. It resembles 140 in that. And, we've said it before. Is there a great fighter in that division? We'll find out over time who ends up at the top as these guys continue to fight each other, as we get title fights and unifications. But the thing I love about this fight, and I went back earlier and I watched my preview for the initial fight before it happened, and I watched the actual fight. And in my preview for the fight, I said the issue that Lee Wood has here is he's fighting a guy who throws 50 power shots per round, and he's a guy who lands on average 3 jabs per round. Man. So how are you going to be able to keep Mauricio Lara off of you, who, by the way, his losses came early before he had his man strength. He's a different beast now. Mauricio Lara is a different beast now. And his amateur
career was his early part of his career.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough out for guys there because in order to beat Lara, he forces you into those type of fights. He forces you into those type of fights, D-Style, because 50 power punches per round, you're not going to be able to just outbox him, jab him, keep him off of you. You have to, it has to be a guy who can trade with him and can win some trades, and a guy with attrition. What I said leading up to that fight, D-Style, was Mauricio Lara is going to have to beat it out of Lee Wood. Where I got wrong was because he's not going to give in. He's not going to bend the knee. Where I got wrong was nobody expected Ben Davison to throw the towel that quick with 5-6 seconds left in the round. He threw that towel, and you could tell right away Lee Wood was upset with that. He didn't want that. He wanted to be able to regain himself and try to get his footing back. And he wasn't able to do that. He wasn't given that opportunity. And I think that's the big reason we're getting this rematch quickly, is because he doesn't want that image out there that he gave in or they threw in the towel. He wants to get right back at it. That's what real fighters do. So shout out to him for that. But I just go back to it is the one adjustment that Lee Wood has to make is he had success in the 5th round by landing to the body against Lara. That's his best punch, as he landed that against Lara, and Lara kind of backed up and said, yeah, you got me on that one. You got me on that one. And he needs to do more of that to try to slow Lara down. It's going to be tough sledding because he's going to have to be in a lot of combination punches scenarios with a bigger puncher who can punch backwards, forwards. This guy does not. He's not a Nakathila type of fighter. He doesn't.
Yeah, he's unorthodox for sure. Let's get Drew in really quick. How's it going, Drew?
What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
Good. Can't complain.
I'm looking forward to that fight. Lara only knows one way, and that's either I'm going to the canvas or you're going to the canvas.
Yep.
And I think Lee Wood now knows what he's got to. He's like, look, I either get knocked out or I knock him out. But he does have to. It's going to be what the game of adjustments, because we know Lara's not going to make an adjustment. He's going to do the same thing he always does.
Yep.
And can Lee Wood go to that body early enough to where it's effective aggression? I know that's been the theme this week, and it deters Lara from his pace and him imposing his will. But I also think Mexicans going over to the UK, bro, they want to keep that streak alive, D-Style. You know that. It's a real thing, though. Like, they want to keep going over there and whoop ass.
Yeah, they be looking like a prime Salvador Sanchez over there. So it is what it is.
So I'm going with the Bronco. The Bronco's just on a tear right now. He's got it's just, how do you explain it? He's in the zone, Calix. He's in the zone like on NBA Jam. He's on fire right now. Just that's at that way he feels comfortable. He's taking everything that everybody else is dishing. It's going to take another person that's be like, nah, hold on, bro. I can bang like you. And then that's what we're going to see what he's really made of.
The interesting thing about this rematch is he was 2.5-1 favorite going into the first one, and he is again in the second one. It hasn't moved, but what has moved is the over/under moved from 5.5 to 8.5. So they're giving Lee Wood more credit, and I think rightfully so. I think Lee Wood is going to make his way into the later rounds in this fight. Is when Lee Wood, if you go back and watch that fight, watch the second round because it was hilarious. And here's another wild card, fellas, is he was headbutted in the first round, and he had a cut going over his eye for the first round. So that may have something to do. That may come into play here. There's a difference there if he doesn't get headbutt and cut. But the second round, the first time Lara caught him with a big shot, you could tell Lee Wood's reaction. He was like, oh, shit, this isn't Kanzu. This is not Mick Conlan. This dude can punch, and Lara can punch. I think he'll be a little more economical than he was a little less willing to trade, and eventually a fight's going to break out though because Lara forces you into that. There's no getting around that. So
I want to ask Drew a question here. So it looks like Warrington is in line, whether we like it or not, to fight the winner. He's always ringside. We know the storyline behind Lara spitting on him, which I don't condone, but it is what it is. Do you want to see that fight?
I condone that Mayorga Duran type shit. These style.
Me too.
They're like they
like,
need.
I hate to say. I liked his response. Like somebody asked him, like You spit on him? He's like, yeah, that's right, I did.
Yeah,
And what's he gonna do about it? That's what he said.
We need more of these guys to get back to being like professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
That's what made that they have to be able to cut a promo and separate, so we can separate the performer from the actual man. You know.
Mhm.
Hey, but Warrington, like he headbutted the spit though. Like he saw it coming.
So we want that bad blood, because we can't. Not every fight's a super fight, and these rivalries are what the lifeblood of the sport is. This is what makes boxing great. These rivalries, every era has them. Like, oh, did you remember when those two guys fought each other 2-3 times? The unheard of rematches and trilogies. You know, the ones that the casual don't know about. That we're the ones that talk when we're 70, 80 talking at the fights, talking to these young bucks. Like, man, we was there when Lara fought Wood, or Lara fought Warrington. So I want to see it. I want to see how dirty it can get.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's one of them fights that it's not going to be. It's going to be a fight. It's not going to be a boxing match.
Yeah, because I would rather see Lara fight the winner of Conlan Lopez. Right? That's what I would rather see. But I think we're going to get the Warrington fight. That's what I think is going to happen. But
Which fight makes more money?
probably the Warrington fight.
Yeah.
So like, and Lara's not going to say no. Like, I think he wants to beat up Warrington and then he get paid for it. Like, how often you get to beat somebody you don't like up and get paid? You know, so he's going to do it. You know what I mean? But yes, he spit on him. He said, "Yeah, what is he going to do about it?" Is pretty much what he said. So it's a brutal response.
I love that.
He doesn't like Warrington, bro, and he was basically saying, "What the fuck was Warrington doing?" Like in my moment at the ring apron. That's what he was saying.
No, you know how fighters get with that level of like, this is my time, it's my shine. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like Canelo said, like,
could you imagine if Canelo would have spit on Andrade?
oh, I would have loved it. I mean, like, can you imagine? Like, we don't have who's this era's Mayorga?
They're trying to say it's Rolly Romero.
Nah,
well, Rolly Romero is just Rolly Romero's just dumb. But like Mayorga was just Mayorga, you know, they fight like the talk about Devin Haney.
Like if Mayorga's parents dropped him as a kid and hit his head, like or something. But then Rolly would be that version.
Mayorga was really a street dude, not like these dudes now that just get the tattoos for the aesthetic and to cosplay a street dude. Mayorga was really that dude.
Mayorga's so street. In his first MMA fight, he landed a knee on the dude's spine and got disqualified. So I'm just saying.
Oh, Mayorga would have thrived in the first UFC days where there was no rules.
He got disqualified for hitting the dude in the spine. And then he was like, "I thought there was no rules. What do you mean?" It is what it is, right? Apparently they do have rules. But hey, any final thoughts, Drew, before we let you go?
Before you let me go, I'm taking my Fire Stick to Japan because I'll be in Japan that week for Crawford Spence. Man, if I make time to actually sit and watch it, and if not, I'll be at the Samurai exhibit watching real warriors, not fighting in their prime.
Is that the same week as the Inoue fight?
Inoue's the 25th. That's a Tuesday.
Oh wow.
It's the same day as UFC 291 or 289.
That's a huge week for boxing right there. Good Lord.
Yeah, so like they just reported the contracts still aren't signed, but it's agreed to, so we'll see. But yeah, no, I have my Fire Stick and the Land of the Rising Sun. Yeah. Am I excited about it? No, honestly, y'all, I'm indifferent about this fight. I'm not. There's no buzz for me. It's like 30-plus-year-old welterweights fighting 5 years too late. I'm not going to see I'm not going to see guys at their apex of their athleticism, and that's the unfortunate part about this.
Yeah.
But y'all have a good night, gentlemen. I'll be in the chat.
We appreciate you, man. Hey, Slight Tendency says he spit on Josh because he called Lara's dad a wanker. So don't call his dad a wanker, bro. You know what I mean? He's gonna spit on you. You know what I mean? It was. I don't know. You know what's funny about that? Warrington was trying to go at him, and there was this old dude like just holding it with one arm. Because these little dudes are like, that's a good thing. Like if you're security, you want to be security with the little dudes because you could hold them back pretty easily. You know what I mean? Or the women, you could just kind of like, all right. Could you imagine trying to hold back? Like, watch out, Lara's gonna spit on you for laughing at his dad getting called a wanker. Okay, all right, but
I love that though. Like,
Charlie, would you rather try to separate Lara and Warrington, or Usyk and Fury? Who would you rather be in the middle of, trying to separate?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Them small dudes are scrappy.
Hey, just go like this, and you're good, bro. What are they gonna do? Have you seen a ref when he stops a fight with a little dude? He just like shoves him out of the way. Hey, it's over.
Okay, Lara's gonna get outboxed. All right. This is what I like to see.
No, he's half right. Like, I think he will be getting outboxed until the inevitable happens.
Yeah,
right?
but that's the thing. Lara's a good boxer, though. Like, Lara's a free fighter who knows how to set up his weapons. It's not like he's just a caveman dude out there.
Lara's a puncher, brother. Like,
he's a puncher, and he's a pressure puncher, and that sucks to fight, because you got to face a dude who's throwing that many shots and he knows how to set them up, and they all hurt, and that's going to be a tough ask for anybody. And this is why I say Lee Wood is better than people are giving him credit for, because he's one of those dudes. Every single fight, he looks better than you expected. A lot of people expected him to get just rolled in his last fight, but he won some rounds. And I think the stoppage was premature. I wanted to see him try to come back from that, but he's a better fighter than giving credit for it. And it's going to be another battle of, what it comes down to is this: he's just outgunned. He's outgunned. Is that final shot, the left hook? He was loading up on his. Lara was loading up on his. Lara's was shorter. Once again, it's a short punch. He's not a caveman in there. He turned on it, and it was it. And it's just, he's outgunned. He's just outgunned here. That's what it comes down to. He's a good fighter, but he's in there with a stylistic problem. Lara's a stylistic problem for everybody.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, we like feedback. Let us know if you like the option of people like kind of calling in and stuff like that. I want to work on a phone line as well, by the way, but this works as well with the setup either way. So as long as it works, I'm looking forward to the fight. I'm picking Lara by knockout. Okay, I think he's going to get that checkmate. I think it's going to happen. And he's later, confident now.
It's going to be later.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's going to be sooner. I think it's going to start sooner.
I don't think so. And I think
I'll tell you why. Well, go ahead, but I'm going to tell you why.
No, I think Lee Wood's going to rise to the occasion here. He wants this rematch. He wanted it quick. Like I said, I don't think he feels good about that stoppage. I don't think he feels good about that white towel being thrown in. Behind closed doors, I think they dealt with that. And he's saying, you get me this fight, you get it to me quick. And like I said, Lara, real dude right there, because he's going right back out there and he's saying, no problem. I just think Lee Wood is going to fight an even better fight, make some adjustments in this fight, go to the body a little more, and try to chop up the fight a little more. But eventually those combination, those trades are going to happen, and those trades are not going to be good for him.
Little Petty's been sitting there like, what are you guys talking about? Lara, that's not how Lara fights. Like, what is this? He thought we were talking about Erislandy Lara, bro.
Oh, yeah. Not at all. Much different fighter.
Coming forward, attacking on. What the hell are they talking about? Oh man, boy, do they fight different, by the way. Like, totally contrast styles. If I ever seen one. The thing with Mauricio Lara, Bronco Lara, the Mexican, not Erislandy Lara. The thing with Mauricio Lara is he can box well enough, and I think this is what you mean. If you don't, then you can correct me, but he could box well enough to stay in the pocket to get his own shots in, and his shots, quite frankly, put more damage on you than his opponents, right? So he's more willing to trade if he needs to. Okay, but I seen him be first. He doesn't always need to wait to counter a guy. He could be first as well. So he's first.
He was first with that left hook.
And I'll say this. That left hook was all skill. That was not he didn't close his eyes and just swing all wild and land that hook by chance. No, that thing was set up. Like, he set that up, bro. All right? Mm-hmm. So when a guy sets up a punch like that, you have to favor him, because I feel like that it's inevitable for it to happen again. right? I was hoping Brian called in because he thinks it's the other way around. But guys, if you're in a background, it's just a call, so it's okay. You know what I mean? But we'll go ahead and I want to go to the next fight. This will be on ESPN. It'll be later in the evening. This won't be on DAZN, by the way. If anybody wants to watch it, we promote the sport here, okay? And then of course ESPN. It's going to be the Conlan fight, Alex.
Yeah.
What do you make of that fight?
If there's a belt that Conlan can pick off right now, it's this one stylistically. Is if you look at the champions at 126, Mauricio Lara, Ray Vargas, Robeisy Ramirez, who we're both high on, Luis Alberto Lopez. The most vulnerable one, in my opinion, is Luis Alberto Lopez, and he's a good fighter. I got nothing against him. I'm just saying stylistically for Mike Conlan, that's probably the highest percentage. Nobody else. This is an even odds fight. I don't know if you saw that. It's even odds. It's a toss-up. If he was facing Mauricio Lara, Mick Conlan would be a 3-1, 4-1 underdog. Ray Vargas as well. Robeisy Ramirez, but he's got a shot in this fight. Lopez, good fighter. He beat Josh Warrington, and he beat him when Josh Warrington does what Josh Warrington does in the first round. He headbutted him. And both fights we talked about tonight is both of them headbutts, cuts over the left eye. And Lopez was able to fight through that and get the decision there. He's a good fighter, but he's gone into enemy territory here. Now, Ireland hasn't had a good week. They just had two heavy favorites lose. And will that trend continue with Mick Conlan?
One of them was to a Mexican.
Yeah. So I tend to think I tend to edge Lopez here. Conlan's got two. This is the thing I like about Conlan is, once again, when he lost to Lee Wood, he was carried out on a stretcher, and you had actually people were saying, "I don't know if I'll ever see that guy fight again." It was such a vicious KO out the ring, and then that image of them carrying him out on a stretcher. But what happens? He fights 5 months later, and not only does he fight 5 months later, he fights against a puncher, Mariaga. And what happens? He wins all 10 rounds. And that was him being a fighter and saying, and that was a revealing moment about Mick Conlan. Like, this dude's a fighter. This dude's a fighter. We felt like Top Rank was hyping him up too much, but he's a fighter. I don't know what his ceiling is. It's lower than all the other guys we've been talking about, in my opinion. And he's not a puncher. That will always be his deficiency. He's not a puncher, but he's a fighter. He's a fighter, and it's a true toss-up. I just slightly favor Lopez in this fight. Slightly.
El venado. Porque gritan en la esquina. Look, all I know.
You got two active fighters here, D-Style. Both these guys fight.
I like the fight. I like the fight, but I got to favor Venado Lopez. All right. I think he has momentum. I think he knows, like he has this understanding. Like, I know I could go a hard 12. Can Conlan go a hard 12? Because the one thing Lopez has is fast hands. You remember when he stood next to Warrington and he threw a combination to kind of show him, like, he said he did it to show him, I got some speed here. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to let you know. I'm not just some other random Mexican dude, like Mexican, stereotypical Mexican fighter. I got some hand speed on me. I got some hands, and I'm going to put some hands on you. And he did. Right? Now, look, it was a competitive fight with Warrington. I thought he clearly won. I'm surprised he gave him the decision and leads, but he got it, right? But I just think this is an easier fight than the Warrington fight.
Yeah, it is.
It's my opinion. It doesn't mean...
Also... Go ahead.
No, it doesn't mean by definition he's going to win, but he could always overlook Conlan, but I don't think he will. I think he will press Conlan early. I think his activity will be high. And I think we're going to see like a very competitive fight in the first half. And I predict that in the second half of the fight, he's going to break him down. That's what I think.
Yeah, and Nano's right about this. He can pile up points with activity. But that's the thing with Conlan is if he's going to win a title, it's going to be here. because I just think this is the most favorable matchup for him with guys who have belts currently, and I think it's only going to get tougher. This division, I mean, the guys who don't have belts right now, Figueroa doesn't have a belt. Magsayo is up there. He doesn't have a belt, but I think he's had his shot. He's actually kind of descending. But Lee Wood is there, Josh Warrington. Of all the guys at the top 10 in the division and guys who either have the belt or are going to have the belt, I think this is his chance. This is his possibility to become a real titleist at 126.
Yeah. Look, what do you think of these two? Do you think it's a coincidence that these two fights are on the same day? And do you think that there's a possibility that, because look, the Lopez fight happened with Warrington, and maybe they want to do a unification down the line. Do you think that's a coincidence?
No. And notice how they've also kept Lee Wood and Mick Conlan on the same timeline. They've been on a similar, because Mick Conlan has said since that loss, I want to stay on the same timeline as Lee Wood because I want that rematch. I want to right that wrong. He's been saying it, and they've been keeping them on the same timeline. And once again, I got to give both fighters respect because they're active fighters. This is what we've been calling for, right? Activity. We don't like the celebrating 700 days of inactivity. We don't like doing as much as we're in here drinking and taking a shot. We'd rather not do it. So we like guys being hyperactive and fighting. That's what you're getting. Once again, once you go south of 130, you're going to get more of real boxing stuff going on, more of guys actually fighting, more of top matchups happening, more of unifications and real toss-up title fights. And that's what we're getting this weekend, and it's a beautiful thing. Lara versus the winner of that fight, I'm for that in the unification as well. You seem to think Lara versus Warrington happens. I'd be for that too. There's just a ton of matchups you can make in this division.
Yeah. Look, I just want to bring up one more thing. And MAW, shout out to him out in Australia. He says, hello, D-Style fans, everybody. By the way, hit the like button, guys. Old Dirty Boxing. How's it going? I just want to touch on one more thing before we wrap this one up. Last call, guys. If you guys want to call in, the link is in the chat. Really quick, let us know, and you guys can get in right away. But here's the thing. I want to give a shout-out to Nikita Zoo. Will be on a pay-per-view over there with a No Limit on Australia. From my knowledge, I couldn't find anything of it being aired in the U.S. And if it was, it would be like at 4 in the morning or something anyway. But so we're going to have to watch it on YouTube or something. That's how I've been watching all Nikita's fights, on YouTube or like some shit. I'm very high on Nikita. I'm not going to go as far as some people are already saying he's going to be better than Tim. I just think it's too early to be saying stuff like that. But he looks promising. He looks, I think he'll be a player, whether he's world champion or not in the future. It's hard to say that. I don't like to predict things like that, but he'll be a player at some point. He's in a high-profile fight in Australia. It's a domestic fight. It's kind of a step-up fight against a 21-year-old Australian a fighter who's undefeated himself. Okay, the Australian fighter is called Bomber. That's a strange name, but all I want to say is this: that it's in the card of a Parker fight. By the way, it's kind of like a stay busy fight for Parker. I don't even know why it's pay-per-view over there. By the way, no offense to Australia, but if it has a zoo in it, like they'll pay for it, I guess. But it's whatever. Joseph Parker's in a fight Faiga Opelu. I don't even know who that is. It's from the AFL heavyweight. Oh, never mind. That's not about. Never mind. I apologize. I got that wrong. But nonetheless, Calix, have you watched any of Nikita Zoo at all? Like, as for any highlights or anything like that? Well, what are your initial?
No, he's a great talent. He's a skill, and it's raw talent. But I push back. I hear the same things you hear, and it seems to always happen with the younger brother. Right? Is being down here in New Orleans, being the same age as Eli. I used to hear the same thing. He's going to be better than Peyton. He's going to be better than Peyton, and it didn't materialize. Great. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Great quarterback, but he was never Peyton Manning. It seems to be always the younger brother who people hype up as he's going to be better than the older brother. I'm not so sure he's going to get there.
Unless
we're both
you're
high on Tim Zoo. We're both high on Tim Zoo. I don't know if Nikita will ever get to where we think Tim Tszyu could go. But talent, he's talented. Now, Joseph Parker, I got to be honest. Once again, I like that after a loss, he's hyperactive. That's the theme tonight, right? Is guys coming off of losses and then getting right back active. This is his second fight in what, 5 months since he got knocked out or since he lost. So it's good that he's active. But I tried to look up information on his opponent, and I don't see anything. I don't know anything about this guy. Nothing. So this is one of those just stay busy fights for everybody.
By the way, Tyson Fury's out there supporting his boy Joseph Parker, and he said, and I quote, "I'll be looking at stadiums in Australia. I'll be here. I'll have a fight here. That is a promise," or whatever he said. Like he said, it's serious. Oh, okay. Does he fight in Australia, Tyson Fury? I don't know. I'm just saying that's what Tyson Fury said.
What Tyson Fury say he's going to do that he's never going to do. I mean, no. No. So
he's just gassing up the Australians like for nothing.
Who's he going to fight in Australia? Who's he going to fight over there?
I don't know. Out of Wallen rematch. I don't know. Maybe Joseph Parker. He'll hook his boy up.
Whatever.
You know what I mean?
How about you do this? How about you just fight undisputed? How about we do that?
Hey, maybe he fights Usyk in Australia, Melbourne or something. I don't know.
Wherever they do it. Antarctica, wherever. Just do it.
Anyway, so apparently this Bumber kid, who they're saying is dangerous. Look, I haven't seen that much of him, but they're saying he's dangerous, right? He's young, 21 years old. It's only a 6-rounder, but I guess he employed like a strength and conditioning coach from the Mayweather gym. And he's really like talking about it a lot. And Nikita was like, they're going to hype him up because, and he said, and I quote, "Americans will say anything as long as you pay them." Like, what do you make of a statement like the Americans will do anything as long as you pay them?
Is he talking about American fighters will do?
No, he's saying like just American trainers, strength and conditioning coaches. They'll tell you what you want to hear as long as you pay them. Like maybe Goosen, you know, he got that cheddar from Ryan. He said whatever he said Ryan was the best dude he ever trained. Like he said whatever it took, he got paid, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting comment. That's all.
I don't know if he meant they'll do anything as far as giving you something that's illegal under the table. I don't know if that's what you meant.
No, I don't know actually.
I mean, that could have been it. You never know. I don't know.
He employed Curtis Henderson, strength and conditioning coach from Team Mayweather. This is foxsports.com.australia. He said Americans will say anything as long as you pay them the right money. So,
who said that?
I don't know. Nikita Tszyu.
Oh, Nikita said that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he could be right about that. The Joe Goosen situation is I'll be the fall guy. I'll be the figurehead for if you lose the fight. I'll be the fall guy. You can fire me as long as I'm getting paid the commission on being the trainer. Possibly. No, I don't know. I don't know what he meant. I don't know the context of it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of context from the article I saw, but I just found that it basically the only thing I know is that the kid was like he was bragging like, "Oh, I hired an American trainer. I'm getting the real training." He stuck with domestic trainers, and so that's why I have the edge or something like that. So I think what he means is, yeah, you're training with them. They're probably gassing you up. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna beat Nikita. You're the shit. Yeah. Your shit don't stink. Yeah. Let's do it. Like you know, I don't know. That's what I think, and maybe that's what he means. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
So it is what it is. Anyway, I'll watch it on YouTube, I guess, when it comes out, and we'll see what's next. Hopefully, there's 8-rounders soon for Nikita, but 5 fights this year. Next year, he'll go to 10-rounders, fighting for regional belts like the Commonwealth and stuff. That's the plan. So I don't mind the plan. It makes sense. So that is what it is. I recommend you guys to check out. It's Nikita Tszyu. Check him out. The highlights are on YouTube. Keep in mind, he's still a prospect. He's already 25, but they're trying to move as quickly as they can with him. With that said, Calix, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No. Well, yes. We celebrated inactivity today, chronic inactivity, and we did that in tongue-in-cheek. But what I like is you're seeing other fighters come back from losses quickly. and say losses aren't the end of the world. We learn from them, we move on, and they're getting back in the ring quickly. Joseph Parker, Lee Wood. We talked about Mick Conlan. These guys are getting back in the ring after losses, and some of them are fighting for titles quickly. So that's good. And what's also good is Spence Crawford, July 29th. And that's going to be a great week for boxing because what do you have? You have two undisputed fights, two meaningful fights between talented fighters. It's Spence Crawford that Saturday. The prior Tuesday, what do we have? We have Inoue versus Stephen Fulton Jr. And to be quite honest with you, D-Style, the hardcore boxing fan, I'm more excited about Inoue versus Stephen Fulton Jr., but still great nonetheless. Spence Crawford, I wish it wouldn't happen late in their 30s. I wish it would have happened earlier when they were closer to their primes. Boxing fans need to realize, and this is why we need to put pressure on fighters to fight the fights, is their primes are short. You might have 3-4 years in their prime, and it's generally in their 20s. So we shouldn't have super fights when fighters are in their 30s when they were available when these fighters were closer to 30, late 20s.
No, for sure. Look, one thing I want to say is this, since we're talking about Nikita, it's just reminding me of this. So right now, we live in a time with social media. We have so many connections with, like, there's zero excuse as a boxing fan to not know these fighters around the world right now. This is not 2005 where, like, we just depend on whatever HBO shows us. You know what I mean? And, like, the only way you possibly at the time, I had to go to maxboxing.com when, like, it was Steve Kim, Fisher, what's the guy from Seconds Out? I forget his name. Montoya. That was the only way you really, and Ring Magazine, that's the only way you learned about the lower weight classes. Or, like, if a Mexican fighter was fighting in Japan or something, that's the only way I kind of saw, like, those fights in Mexican television. But now we have all this to our disposal, right? Like, it's all right there. It's literally on the palm of your hand. Like, literally. Like, that's not, it's not a, like, saying, like, it's true.
People need to realize this is, I watched the Des Moranis fight this morning, early in the morning. Yeah. It's on YouTube. It's 126 pounds. You can see good fights on a Monday. Just go on BoxRec. Click BoxRec schedule. You see a full schedule of fights all around the world. And then all you got to do is type it in YouTube an hour after the fight, and you got it. It's right there. You can watch every fight going on across the world. There are fights you don't even know about happening. And a lot of them are good fights. Des Moranis knocked them out this morning in the 4th round.
A lot of great fights. Look, you literally have it in the palm of your hands. We're living in an age where almost every continent has a big star, like a mega star, right? And we in North America, we have Canelo. Now you could probably argue Tank, right? And then countries, like, they have, like, their regional stars, but just going by continents, Australia technically, like, is a continent. Like, you have Tim Tszyu over there, right? Mm-hmm. Europe, I mean, you have Tyson Fury, you have Anthony Joshua. Asia, you have Inoue, right? Philippines will eventually have another big star, in my opinion. Eventually, it'll happen, like another Manny, maybe not as good, but maybe close to as popular as a Manny Pacquiao. Maybe it's going to happen.
The Eastern Bloc. Yeah. You got your Usyks, you got your Lomachenkos. They're big over there. You know.
So this is a day and age where we have a lot of great fighters from all around the world, and just remember that it's a global sport. There's no excuse to not know what the fuck's going on. And I don't want to hear, I don't have time. Like, of course you have time. Mm-hmm. Like, if you have time to tell about Errol Spence every day, you have time to kind of tap in and know what's going on. I'm just saying, okay? But with that said, that's why channels like us are here to talk about these fights. And I think these are important fights. The featherweights are fighting each other. It's a very similar situation, as I said earlier, like the UFC. Like, the fights are happening because the economics are not getting in the way, right? And just like UFC fans don't care when you bring up the money they make, or I have no idea what any of these 4 dudes are going to make on Saturday. I have no idea.
Don't care either.
I just know that they're down, they're going to fight, and I'm going to watch it. That's all I know. And that's as fans we should focus on. Right? Don't focus on the things that have no bearing on you. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to watch it if they're not making like a good 10 million each. I don't think I could support it unless you're making a lot of money. Let me tell you something, man. Let the managers, let the team sort that out. Once a fight's official, enjoy these fights. That's the only recommendation I have for anybody out there. With that said, we appreciate you guys. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing.
God bless.
We are out of here.
Peace.
Peace.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7,